Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of the Smoke Room. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the news version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $3 a month. You know. Anyways, on the last Let's Play, we hid in Sela's house, and let's see. Yeah, there was something outside, but then I think Sela got possessed for a hot minute and was talking about stuff. It was something. And then the doctor looked at our leg, which is sprained or something like that. So yeah, we're not walking too well right now. We're trying to, figure out a way to get to Camp Rosa or something. But now we're back at the the inn. Anyways, reset my face. And begin. The innkeeper barely looks at me as I make my way through the front door and start my circle up these steep stairs. Thankfully, the railing is sturdy. When I get to the front door of our room, I accidentally lose my footing and my body thuds against the wood. Coming! I hear the sound of Murdoch's voice and the sounds of scrambling through papers on the desk before a chair pushes out and somebody's footsteps get closer. The door opens. I can see the fox's expression shift from relaxed to nervous. Oh, Sam. He looks me up and down. I'm relieved that you're back, but what happened? He moves out the doorway to make room for me. I haul my way to the bed less than gracefully, and I see Jebs sitting on the bed across from mine. I'm used to seeing him being calm, but he looks pretty disturbed looking at me. The hell happened to you? Got foolish and messed up with the wrong farm animals. Yeah, farm animals. Gives me a look like he doesn't believe me. I give him a look back that I'm not exactly trying to hide my lie. I mean, why am I lying anyways? I mean, these guys know that there's something. So what's the point of being like, well, I don't know, I just fiddled with some farm animals and got injured. Anyways, more that I'm not going to talk about it. Why exactly are you asking anyway? I thought you left. Jeb looks like he's about to say something, but Murdoch butts in. He came back once I reassured him that our issues in the forest weren't his fault, and that Cliff is going to pay him in full. I grimace a bit. And Cliff agreed to all that, then? Cliff isn't stupid, Sam. He knows that if we want to go back home, we're going to need a guide. Frankly, I wouldn't want to take us back to Echo either if I were our guide and weren't given my pay up front and a proper apology. I'm not that delicate. So long as I have my pay guaranteed both ways, there won't be a problem. I give Murdoch a look. And you're certain this isn't going to blow back in your face? I have made tougher bargains. So yeah, I'm pretty confident. I nod slowly and sigh, rubbing the back of my head and pulling a piece of twig out of my fur. Jeb, would you mind stepping out for a moment? There's something private I want to talk about with Sam. Don't need to tell me twice. He sits up and straightens his cap. There's something I need to talk to Avery about. I remember that Avery said he wanted to be alone, and I mean to stop him, but he's out the door before I can muster up a call deep enough to hear. Murdoch starts pacing around the room. Can you quit walking like that? Makes me nervous. He stops and he takes a look at me. You're nervous? I thought you were gone for good last night. I want to think so. What if I was, but that's probably not fair. I want to think so, what if I was. I think that's a typo and it's not just me reading it right. Anyways, I'll let you know before I go. He gives me a look like I'm a loony. Like I'm loony. You're still going to try and go off on your own after it looks like you got tossed around and mangled? All I can do is shrug. Where I go is my business. The longer I stay here, in this little settlement, the less safe I'm gonna feel. I want to make my way to Camp Rosa as soon as possible. And what if I told you nowhere was as safe as you think? That's a weird thing for him to say. Then I'd say it sounds like you were looking for an excuse to keep me around. So you admit you're not even going to try to come back to us with us to Echo? To Echo? Not unless you're interested in packing up with me and heading north. I have too many obligations to do something like that. So now we're starting to understand one another. We both have places to be and obligations to fulfill. Oops, I accidentally pulled my headphones out. If you want to walk out of here, I can almost guarantee you're not going to make it. I lean forward in my bed. You're threatening me? Quite the opposite. He walks over to the desk, pulls out one of the shelves, and pulls out a photograph from the shelf. Do you recall that calotype we made? Calotype? We made of Mr. Tippett standing on the rock? It feels like forever ago, after what we've been through. Sort of. I got a chance to freeze the image. What? Flip the photo over. Then, take a look. I do as he said, and hold the picture up in my hand. Ooh. Mr. Tippett actually looks pretty good. What the? It looks like something big. With something wrong and contorted about its face. Whilst I didn't think these things appeared during the day. The longer I look at it, the more I can almost smell the corpses of Jeb's donkey. This some kind of magic trick? You think I have the time and bad humor to pull something like that? People are missing, cargo's destroyed, and now you're injured. So, was none of us paying attention, or is this one of these kind of things where you can only see it through a photograph? But we didn't see anything like this when you took the picture, or this picture. And yet, it was clearly right there. Well, it's gotta be some kind of wild animal, right? Can you think of any wild animals that can turn invisible and tear a pack animal to shreds in minutes? His voice is shaking a bit. Geez, now I'm feeling all tingly. Whatever this thing is, it could be anywhere at any time. As far as I'm concerned, the only safety there is safety in numbers. I feel my ears lower and my eyes widen. Oh God. Cliff went off on his own last night for research, didn't he? He's with one of Avery's friends. We need to find him and tell him about this. Do you think he's fine? Of course. He's with Avery's friends. There's a surety and a confidence in his voice that makes me feel better. There's a small shadow of his face that makes me think otherwise. Like he's scared. Absolutely terrified. So I grab my walking sticks and make myself stand. Let's go find him. Sorry, it's late at night and I didn't sleep well. Through all of my long nights and all of my bitter travels, it wasn't until last night that I thought, my God, maybe this really was all worth it. I saw families gathering on the mesa. The beatific joy? Is beatific a word? Let me just type it in. Blissful happy. Huh. Okay. Never seen that word before. and the colors borrowed from the good earth itself were not something my grandfather, nor all the scholars of Europa, could begin to dream of. Oh, so we're cliff now. I know I'm a stranger in their midst, but after just one night, I do not feel that way. Huh. Okay. Took me a second. I was like, wait, why does Sam think all of a sudden now it's all worth it? I dare not share it. The big, humble bear smiles at me as we walk. Did you sleep well, Mr. Tibbets? His accent is quite thick, but his grammar is wonderful, so I can still understand what he says. I assume he must think the same, considering Albion isn't my first language either. Oh, better than ages, really. On rocks and furs? I would have thought you'd prefer a softer, western-style bed like the inn. At the inn, I put my paws on my hips. Now I know I might look precious, precious little guy, but I can assure you that I'm used to roughing it just as much, if not more, than some of my companions. I found out last night that his role in the community was far more important than I initially knew, leading the first night of one of the chants. I'm just thankful they're willing to accompany me through the settlement and help me get my bearings. Bear. That chant will go on until another night, so I do not think we will find many others in the village to talk to. Another night? I heard of such practice before, but it was a bit different to think about when you just spent most of your previous day participating in one. Yes? That's one of the shorter chants. Sometimes they're longer. What's the longest one you can remember? He pauses. 7 days? That's so long. He chuckles. Sometimes there's a lot to cover. I stop walking, turn to him, and give him a quick bow. Making you leave a chant early on my accord would leave a stain on my conscience. If my presence had intruded upon or interrupted your way of life in any way, I have to humbly apologize. The bear smiles and scratches the back of his head. That sort of chant is one we do whenever we feel the need for it. There'll be others like it. And, we've had anthropologists visiting us for decades. Some stay for much longer than a mere week, at least since the Treaty of 1868. Sometimes we get so used to them living in the community and asking questions they, as a joke, become considered part of the family. That's so... That's so... nice. It's nice, really. I don't necessarily mean that it's ideal for everybody. Oh, of course. Just more so that's particularly what we had to get used to. Anthropologists like you have aided missionaries in the group effort to translate and record our language and our beliefs. But that doesn't mean that they are respected or valued more than as a curiosity. I see. Are there words that haven't been translated yet? Yes. Especially ones they already have words for. But we have our own names for wildlife and flowers. There are customs that we do not feel comfortable sharing too. I point to a nearby oak tree that's sitting next to the church. Could I hear your name for that? The bear smiles and clears his throat. I think I hear him say something along the lines of Alona, but I can't be certain. Quite the odd couple you make. Caldwell is standing outside of the church. You're late again. I take a look at my pocket watch. Only 15 minutes. The Reverend rolls his eyes. Consistent, at least. 15 minutes may be nothing to you, but the children are on a schedule. Given that the nature of your thesis centers on work, I thought it would be prudent to show you how the sustainability of the settlement starts with school. He beckons us down the hallway leading to the chapel. It's empty right now, and he leads us through the corridor on the left side of the crucifix-shaped building. It leads to a long room furnished modestly. Several dozen boys and girls dressed in white shirts and black pants are looking over Bible scripture, copying specific passages into brown paper with quills and ink. It doesn't look that different from my schooling experience, aside from the fact that everybody is much better behaved. But what strikes me as odd is the quiet. Back in my school days, there would be whispers and giggles between compatriots in even the quietest of studying halls on occasion. But here, the room is only filled with the sound of scratches on paper and the bubbling of ink. Heating and guaranteed lunch and morning meals that they would often otherwise miss are provided. Access to books and writing tools are also assured. He turns to me suddenly, and his robe flutters with a sharp turn. Do you have any questions or concerns so far? None, really. Based on Avery's story about his sister, I expected to see starvation conditions, illness, injuries, or devices of misconduct. But everything here looks incredibly ordinary. I could easily see myself attending a school not unlike this in Badvia, had my parents been poorer. Cadwell makes a gesture with his wing for the two of us to follow him still. I guess it'll be a wing. While every child must learn to read and write, few pursue scholarly paths in isolation. It's crucial to train students to work with their hands just as well as their minds. As he opens his door to the outside, we feel a wave of heat enter the building. But we come upon a field of bright green grass and the sky is crystal blue. Goodness gracious, it's difficult to conceal my excitement. There are wildflowers and fruit trees of many varieties placed perfectly into snug, raised beds. A low drone comes from boxes and boxes of honeybees, aligned in rows like soldiers. I can make them out even from far away, and I can see them flints to and fro like fairies with iridescent wings, winging their wee fuzzy bodies free from pollen, as a pixie would stardust. Now here's a question I just thought. Is each bee hive building its own hive with one queen each? Do the bees just not mess with each other? Or do they communicate? Because you'd think that if you put two ants together, they would fight each other. I guess it's depending on the type of ants. Like maybe one ant race would attack another ant race. Or I've heard maybe some attack each other. Of same species, different settlements. Bees would be considered the forebearers of a self-sufficient civilization. Without them, the flowers wouldn't breed. Without them, the fruits wouldn't grow. They live in harmony, communicating with one another to serve their queen, bringing life and treasure to all of God's creatures. There's no nobler creature than the humble honeybee. One is still wiggling its butt. Iska, can you show how they're tended? Check time. Okay, you're good. Oh, truly? He was one of my best students. That is why he still tends the bees, and is granted privileges here and there for his ongoing toils past graduation. They are appreciated, Reverend. Though you do have your helpers, don't you? Kids just like me. It takes particular tactics and temperaments to command respect. Take notes from him, Mr. Howlink. He turns to go, then doubles back. Oh, if you finish with the bees early, do show him some carpentry as well. Yes, Reverend. The bear exhales when Cadwell's gone. Or Caldwell? I take it you've never collected honey before? I should say not. Why, I never forgave myself if I crushed some by accident, or made a mess of all the precious honeycomb. All precious honeycomb? Besides, stingers hurt. We have ways to protect you from that. Here, come to the shed. We tramp on over to a whitewashed shed with a padlock. Yiska unlocks it and lifts a heavy latch from several bars. It's very secure for a shed. Inside, there are hats with nets tied to the brim, and a thick, hardy gloves made of reinforced canvas. There's an entire suit made of material, too, You can try the bee suit if you need full protection. Hardly necessary. If my paws and peepers are covered, that's more than ample protection for me. Yeah, I wouldn't be so brave. Grab the hat and gloves then. You don't need to put them on yet. Right. Iska pulls something off the barrel, and it looks like a metal can with bellows attached behind it that are a long metal tip that stopped with a cork. You know, if I was going to do the thing, I probably should have just continued on the last Let's Play. Because it's like, oh, these are two entirely different scenes. You know, from here's this picture and here's the bees. What kind of contraption is this? It's a smoker. He takes the lid off and shows me the hollow well inside the metal can. We can start a flame with the cardboard and pine needles that burns inside, and we can puff out the smoke easily spotted and the bellows. Why do you need to make smoke? It makes the bees docile. He pulls out a piece of cardboard off one of the shelf and rolls it into a little band. Then he takes a lighter from his pocket, ignites it, and puts in the smoker. We leave the shed, locking it behind us as the bear leans over to the scoop dry pine needles off the floor. 2 scoop tray, stuffing it into a smoker. It takes a while to do this, stuffing more pine needles in than I had thought possible. But eventually, he closes the top and squeezes the bellows a few times to show me puffs of concentrated smoke emit in a direction out of the spout. Now you want to put the netting on. Righto. The bear squeezes the bellows and aims the nozzle at the opening of the box where the bees are climbing out. Thick puffs of smoke shoot their way into the boxes, and the droning gets louder. I thought you said they were supposed to calm down. Give them 5 minutes. I look into the distance. I see a young squirrel in a school outfit, nailing planks together. An older male dog motions her. The shape of it reminds me of all the flower beds around us. I have to resist asking to get involved. While we wait, is it true what the Reverend said? That the kids like you? The bear blinks. They can see that I'm strong, and can do some things they can't yet. That often impresses children. Right, but you said they like you. Do they tell you much about their experiences in school? No more than I already know. So what do you know? Rewards come if you behave. Consequences come if you do not. Consequences like what? Weren't you punished in school when you didn't obey your teachers? I had my paws slapped by a ruler more times than I'd like to count. He nods. I am treated well when I keep to myself, and when I listen. I see. He wipes his brow. The bee should be calm by now. He steps over to lift the box. The bees are all jittering, moving slower than they were before. He pulls out a wooden sheath. It's covered on one side by drowsy-looking bees, and a thick golden hive-like pattern of hexagons. Oh, that's beautiful. The honey here has a distinct smell, too. It smelled shyly of honeysuckle, but there was a strong maloney scent of Sugaro flowers within? Beautiful. As the Reverend said, that's just the miracle of bees. He scrapes off a nugget of wax honeycomb and holds it out to my paw. Try it. I pick it off his tool and pop it in my mouth. The crunch is followed by a bright floral taste, and it melts away in my mouth. I can't help but lick all of it off my fingers, which makes the bear start laughing. What? It's good. I just picked you as a more delicate eater. Not when I'm ravenous. I forgot that we didn't even eat breakfast, and my stomach rumbles. The honey should hold me over for now. A sudden draft blows in, and it blows off, ripples over the grass. The trees rustle as I feel the cool air against my skin, and smell the honey hovering over me. I guess this is inward thoughts. I mean, here's the thing. It could be this, but knowing what I know about, American Native American relations, I'm not sure what implications mean. But what would that be? Of course, a school like that would seem normal to me. I've never known much different, but it's different for the people who live under the thumb of this country. Despite how sweet the honey might taste or how beautiful the land is here, these people still aren't given the choice in the matter. What this country tries to do to them or with them. But as soon as I pluck my own board of beeswax out of the hive, a sound disturbs the peace. Somebody barks out a call from the wheat field behind us. We both turn around, and my heart sinks a bit to see Sela. I can tell that he doesn't much care for me, but I don't want to cause any trouble. He starts talking in the Meseta language. I don't know if he knows, but I can understand him. I can make out injury, beast, white, and corpses. Were there corpses? Sela is pointing over to something in the cornfield, and Yiska is looking back. I can translate the bear's response to something close to, "Are you sure?" Sela undeniably says yes several times. What are you two talking about? Sela sucks through his teeth. He should know. Know what? The fox gives me a dirty look, but the bear gives him one that makes him stand down. Follow. I think now might be a good time to call it, because it's a scene change-ish, and we're also near the 30-minute mark. So, the end of this Let's Play, so please comment, because I like comments, damn what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like to grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the various type of grow, and please remember to spay and neuter your animals to help control the pit population. And if you want to play this game, it's available for free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that make this game, and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $3 a month. And until next time, I'll say, me, GamerWolfSix, of the Smoke Room. So thanks and see ya.